Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is part 30 for a step-by-step guide to learn Angular. So if you are directly coming to this video, I will recommend you to watch previous video first and then you can come to this video. These are the topics we are going to cover in this complete video series. And today we are working on the reactive form post request for our to-do form. And this is the application we are going to develop in this complete video series. So let's start. So this is our to-do form we developed, and now step one is to create a database table for this form. So let's open our MS SQL. So this is a table I'm going to create for our to-do form, and you can find this script in the video description block. So now we have created our to-do table. Let's select and see. Yeah, so our table is ready now. Now step two is to go to API and modify our DB context file for our entity framework. So let's open Visual Studio and let's open our API. So in the API, first I'm going to create entities from my table which we created recently. So right click on entities folder, and here I can add a new class and let's give name to do task and click on it. So let's add the properties for task to do table which we created earlier. The columns name are matching with the properties, and now let's add this to our db context file. So it is our to do context file. So let's copy this db set and paste it here, and now let's add our uh, to do class here and let's rename it and save our changes. Now one more change we need to make. Let's scroll down on model creating. We need to define our table and the columns. So just scroll down, and after user details we can add the code here. So this is the code I'm adding. So this is our table name, and here I'm defining all the column names which we created in our table. And now let's save this. Now just rebuild your solution, and then we are going to create one controller to get the to-do details. So in the controllers folder, uh, click on add and then select the controller. And here I'm going to use that scaffold for entity framework. So that's last one I'm going to use, and select add. And here the model classes I'm going to use the entities which we created recently, and the context would be same, and name, let's keep the name same, to do task controller, and click on it. So now I can see that my to do task controller has been generated, and without writing any code I am having a methods for getting the to do list, and get by id, and put and post my to-do details. So I can use this controller. So before starting for Angular, let's verify this. So let's run our solution. So my get method is working fine, and I can see the new endpoint which we created. I'm getting this empty array as we are not having any record in our table. So now let's open Visual Code and start for posting the to-do data to our API. In Angular also, first we need one model which consists all the properties what we have in our form. So like task name, category, start date and end date, and auto close. So let's quickly create our model. So right click on to do folder and select a new file, and I can give name as todo.ts, and let's open this. And here I can create it as an interface. I need to export this interface, right? And let's give name to do. And here I'm going to add all the properties like task name. it should be string, then category, this should also be a string, then start date, this should be a date, end date should also be a date, and auto close is a boolean. So let's auto close should be a boolean, and let's save this. And now we need one service to call our API, right? So I'm using Angular CLI to generate my service. So ng, then G for generate, then S for service, and before that I should move to our to do folder. So it should be cd, then src, then app, and under that we have to do. And here I can create my to do service, right? So let me give command ng, then G for generate, then S for service, and I can give name as to do service, right? And let's keep the flat structure. I don't want to create a folder, and click enter. So now in the previous video for registration form, we created one service and we are posting our registration data. So I can use that same code for post the data. So let me copy this code, and let's open the service which we created recently. That's a to do service. And here let me paste this code, and let's rename it to do, and the model should also be our new model. What's the to do? Yeah. And the return type should also be a to do. Let's import http headers, and let's give to do here, and also we need to define this http client and this app URL. So let's again open our account service, and scroll up. Then we can see this http client and app URL. So let's copy this as well and replace this constructor with that code. And let's import our environment variable where we have our API URL. So let's import this, and also let's import our HTTP client and observable. Let's save all these changes. Now the last thing which we need to change is the URL. So I need to change this user details with the correct URL. So what is the our to do task URL? It's this. So I can copy this to do task and paste it here. So my service is ready to post my to do model. Now I have to go to the component to create one method and call this service. So let's go to component, and here after this on init I'm going to create one method. So let's give name save to do, and also I need to inject my service. So where can I inject? Yes, correct, in the constructor. And now I can call my service from my save to do method. But how this save to do component method is getting called? Yes, correct. I need to update my HTML and I need to tell my form to post the data to this save to do form method, right? So let's open our HTML and let's go to our form track, and here what I can add? Yes, correct. ng submit. So let's add ng submit here, and here I can give my method. So it's a save to do. So let's paste it here. So now my form is going to post on this save to do method. So if you will talk about our service, so what our service save method is expecting, it's expecting a to do model, right? So first I need to create one variable, let's say to do model, define the type, it is to do, and how can I get the data? So I'm having my data in my form, right? uh, what is our form tag in the to do form? So I can use spread operator, and then I can say this dot to do form dot value, and if I will consider my all the properties are same as I am having in my to do model, only my start date and end date is an state because it is under a date group, right? So I need to explicitly define my start date and end date. So let's give a start date, and also let's import this to do first, and this should be this dot to do form dot value dot let's see our HTML what we have. So this is a date group, and under that we are having a start date, right? So it should be date group dot start date, and similar to that for the end date. So now we are having all the values in our to do model. So now I can use this service object and post my to do model. So let's say this dot service dot save to do, and let's pass our to do model, and let's subscribe to this method, and let's save this. So now after subscribe, first thing what I want is I want to clear my form, right? So what I can do, what is my form name? This dot to do form, and we are having a method called reset. So I can use this method to clear my form, to reset my form, right? And second thing, I want to notify my user like that record is successfully saved. So I can use the alert object same what we used in the registration form, right? So let's use this. So this dot alert dot first thing is show alert, then it's true, and this dot alert dot message equals to, let's give record saved, and save this. And now let's run our application and verify our changes. So now my application is compiled successfully, and before I open the browser, one more change we need to make is we need to define the alert type, right? So this dot alert dot type, and we have different types, right? What we define in the registration page, I can show you that as well. Let's open our registration page, and here like we define success, so same way we can give the success. Okay, so let's paste it here and save these changes. Now let's open our browser window. So I can see in the API currently we don't have any record, so now let's try to save one new record. So the task name I can give like video uh, creation, and category maybe I can give social, and start date I can give like maybe Monday 5th, and end date I can give like maybe 6th, and let's save these changes. So I can see that I received a message record saved, and with this alert, and my form is also cleared and my button is disabled. Now let's quickly verify if I'm getting the record in the API or not. So yeah, I am able to get this newly record in the API. Now one more thing I want to do is let's add one more record like personal, and I'm giving start date as a 7th, and I'm not giving end date, and I'm unchecking this auto close checkbox. And now let's try to save the record, and this time I'm expecting one error. So yeah, my record is not saving, and let's see our console window so I can see that I can see this error with 400 code. So why I'm getting this? Let's investigate this. So this 400 code is a stand for bad request. So generally we get this error when our API model values is not matching with our UI model. So something wrong, something bad we are sending. So we get this bad request. So when I'm getting this, when I'm not entering my end date, when my end date is null, I'm getting this error. So let's open our API, and here in the model, I can see that my end date is not a nullable type. So I need to make this changes. I need to make my end date as a nullable, and then I should not get this error. So let's quickly make this change. To make this end date nullable, we are having two options. Either we can give the question mark in the date time data type, or we can define, we can use this nullable property, and then we can wrap our date time inside this. Yeah, that's all. Now let's build our application, and now let's run our API. And one small change we need to make in our UI, if end date is empty string, so what I want is I want to set it as a null. So this dot, it should not be this, it's local to do model dot end date equals to do model dot end date dot to string, and then I am checking if it is empty string, then let it be null, else I will give this dot to do model dot end date, and save this. Now I can verify our changes. So now give some task name and select the category as a personal, start date maybe third, and I'm not entering end date, and let's uncheck this, and let's try to save. So I can see I'm getting message record saved, and let's verify in the API. So this is old record. After refresh I should get my new record. So let's refresh this, and yeah, I'm getting the new record and with the end date as a null. So that's all for this video. In this video we saved our to-do data. So in the next video we need to show that data in the tabular form. So I'm going to use prime ng for showing this data. Thank you for watching.